Welcome to ITP 371 Data Structures and Algorithms. In this course, we're going to learn how to use the C++ programming language. We're also going to spend a lot of time discussing how algorithms work and how to write complicated code. And then we're going to learn to use a variety of data structures. Data structure is just a way to hold data in memory. You already know at least one. You know how to use an array. An array is a great data structure, but there are others with specific uses, and those we'll spend a lot of time with this term. All right, so C++ is a relatively old language developed by a gentleman named Bjarne Stroustrup in the early 80s. C++ is a play on a programming tool called ++, which you know is add 1 to it. C++ is based on the C programming language, which was developed in the 1970s by Kernighan and Ritchie. C was derived from B, which you can probably guess was derived from A. C++ is where it ended. C++ is one of the original object-oriented programming languages, and it's considered a must-know language. In order to code C++, you need some tools, and you got choices. You can either use Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. Either's fine, both are awesome. There's very few differences between the two, and as I come across them, I'll point them out. In a nutshell, Visual Studio will take a lot more disk space. We'll give you a very powerful product that we will use later. Visual Studio Code is more complicated to set up, but you're comfortable with it, and you know it. In terms of what they look like, here's Visual Studio Code. Here's Visual Studio. There's a little more support here in Visual Studio than Visual Studio Code, but again, both are awesome. Whichever one you want to work with is fine with me. Okay, so more information about me, or about the class rather. Data files for the book are under course materials. How to debug using Visual Studio Code is here. I have all my previous term lectures available to you through GitHub. These are the code I actually write in class with my students when I have them on grounds. I teach them typically 3 days a week, 2 hours a day. We write a lot of code. Okay, my office hours are on Tuesdays from 12 to 4, and also Wednesdays 10:30 to 12:30. If I'm not at my desk, or rather, if I'm not available to you in office hours, and I'm at my desk, I'll be in Discord. So just click into either Open Tutoring or my office hours Discord and send a question. I will respond. Don't feel afraid to contact me outside of office hours. I will respond typically all day. If I'm not on my desk, I have my phone, and my phone also has Discord up and running. I'll respond as soon as I can. If you do ask for help, please tell me which project you're asking for help on, and if appropriate, zip up and send me your code so I can take a look at what's going wrong. Especially if you're saying, my code gives me an error. Tell me what the error is and send me your code so I can look at it. Okay, so to get through the class, you're going to need to work through these modules. I have a module for each week. And let's take a look at the first one. Since this is an 8-credit class, I'm expecting you to put a lot of time into it. I've got objectives as we start up, key terms, but what you're going to care the most about, you'll see my lecture notes. These are the lecture notes I work through when I have my students in class. And they'll open up documents such as this. Typically it's in Word. And what I'll do is I'll describe the code I'm going to write, and then the code I'm going to write. Sometimes I give pictures of code. Sometimes there's actual code copied and pasted. Like here's a picture of code versus copy and paste. It depends on my mood. Careful copying and pasting code out of Word. Quotes get messed up a lot. You also find videos. Some of them I've acquired from YouTube. Others I've written. And yet others come from Cengage. The videos are all good. They're all very helpful. Spend time in them. I try to keep my videos short. I try to select shorter videos so you don't have to worry about slogging through an hour and a half long video. 15 minutes is probably the longest video you'll deal with. If I created a video, it's either in response to My students ask me a question, or it's me doing an assignment from the book. All right, let's look at your weekly work. We'll start by looking at your syllabus. All right, so you can read all of this. Book is DS Malix C++ Programming and Design. That's in Cengage, and that's also a link to that on Blackboard. Here are your competencies, what I expect you to pull off, and again, you can read that. Here are the assignments you'll have. Every week you'll have a reading quiz. It'll either be 1 or 2 per week, depending on how many chapters assigned that week. Take those as many times as you want until you get the grades you want. You'll have one programming exercise a week, which will consist of anywhere from between 3 to 10 or 3 to 6 problems. When you have more problems, I assume the code is less complicated than when you have more problems. Typically, these problems come out of your book, and I'll take a look at that here in a second. But the book programming exercises are very mathy and very technical, so you're going to want to spend some time in this. Do not put this off. Also, every week you'll have a weekly reflection journal. Remember this. This doesn't always appear in the calendar. It's here I ask you 5 simple questions like, what did you learn? What do you still not understand? Answer those questions honestly. I will read them and I will respond to you. Quite often, I will take your questions and create a video to answer that question. The reason for that, if one person has a question about a problem, somebody else does too. And then you have a midterm project and a final project, about 1,200 points in the term. You can read the new guidelines for success. Here are the expected course flow. First 3 weeks of the term, we're covering 2 chapters. And the reason for that is you've already taken a Java class. Java and C++ look very similar. It's still programming. So I don't think you'll have too much trouble with that first 3 weeks. As we start to move forward, and I've taught this class a number of times, I know that we get harder. So like chapter 8 is hard on the students. So I have set week 4 to dedicate to chapter 8. Likewise, week 5 is dedicated to chapters 10. I did that after experience with this book and with teaching it for 4 times prior to this, watching where the students bogged down and get into trouble. Second half of the course, we start dealing with our data structures. We will start by building a list, and we will build a list using the author's help. We'll then take a look at that custom list and then realize this is cool, but then we'll move over to what's called the C++ Standard Template Library, or STL. These have all the data structures you could ever want pre-built and working fine, and we'll use those going forward. Data structures is not limited to C++. They're in every programming language, Java, Kotlin, C#, etc. So if you learn it here, you can apply it elsewhere. Let's just go back to Blackboard. As mentioned, the textbook is here. It takes you out to this screen, and all the chapters are over here. We're starting with chapter 2. Now, what you want to do when you read these things, look at code. Okay, the prose is great, but there's more code in this book than there's prose. If you can look at the code and go, I know what that's doing, you really don't need to read the prose. Parse through the code first. If you're going, what the heck is that code doing? Read the prose around it. All right, so let's look at our assignments. Each week you have a variety of assignments. I already mentioned that this homework exercises could be anywhere between 3 and 6 assignments. The homework exercises typically link out to a OneDrive document. I'm asking you to name them very clearly so I know what it is I'm looking at. And I'm also asking you to zip it up and include your name and what the week number is. I have it graded for this, and they will need to know who they're grading. The programming exercises are in your book. Now notice they say programming exercise. I'm going to say that word several times. When you go to look for these in the book, look for programming exercises. If I can find them. There we are. Programming exercises. Click on it. It says programming exercise. And the reason I've said that so many times, I've taught this now for my 5th time. I've had students in every term do exercises. No, don't do that. Do programming exercises. And I tell you exactly which ones to do. Like it says exercise 3. So programming exercise number 3, do this. Program exercise number 7, do this. Okay. As the book moves on, it gets harder. Do not put these assignments off. Now you'll see that you have your reading worksheet due on Tuesday, homework exercises, I say, on due Wednesday. Don't wait till Tuesday or Wednesday to start your homework. You will fail. As the term gets longer or deeper, these assignments get much harder. Week 1, week 2 probably won't beat you up too much. Week 3, you'll start to brain bleed. Week 4, you'll want to cry. Do this stuff early. All right, so how to get help. One, I have an FAQ, which currently isn't working, but I'll get that fixed. The FAQ has a variety of answered questions. Secondly, in the course materials, I have some resources you can look at, some additional files here. I already mentioned the previous term lectures are here. So if you need to look at code I've written, they're here. I'm also available to you in Discord. If I'm at my desk, I'm in Discord. Send a message. If you're having trouble with the code, zip it up, tell me what the problem is, and send it to me. If you don't like Discord, zip it up and email it to me. Get it to me early. The earlier you get it to me, the better. I will take a look at your code and I'll respond back to you. Sometimes I'll fix the code. Sometimes I'll tell you some hints on how to figure out the problem yourself. All depends on the complexity of the error and your ability in the class. All right, that's it. This is going to be a fun term. It's going to be a hard term. Start early, work hard, ask for help when you need it. I'm here for you, and I know you can do this. You just have to believe in yourself, because I know you can. All right, I will see you in class. Thank you.